Hello, and welcome to this presentation using NRP Power Analysis Time Mode. This presentation will show you how to make time mode measurements using the NRP Power Analysis application. This presentation assumes you're already familiar with the NRP Power Analysis option and how NRP series power sensors are used with the SMA100B analog signal generator. If you're not familiar with these topics, it would be a good idea to watch the presentations using NRP Power Analysis and using NRP power sensors with the SMA100B before continuing with this presentation. Many of the screens and functions used in time mode measurements are the same as those used in frequency and power mode, so the presentations using NRP Power Analysis frequency mode and using NRP Power Analysis power mode should also be watched before beginning this presentation. The first step in making time mode measurements is setting the mode to time in the Configure Measurement screen. Note that a new additional tab, Configure Gate Mode, and a Trigger Events parameter will appear when we select Time Mode. We'll come back to these parameters in just a moment. In frequency and power analysis modes, the SMA100B must be used as a source, but in time mode, signals could be from any source. The NRP sensor measures the received signal and displays the results in the time domain, that is, a power versus time trace. In addition, various pulse parameters can also be automatically displayed and calculated. There are two configuration steps in time mode measurements. The first is measurement parameters, which is done under Configure Measurement. This is very similar to the configuration for frequency and power mode measurements. In time mode, we also have to define a trigger, which we do under Configure Sensors. Let's explain first what we mean by a trigger and why we need one in time mode measurements. In most cases, pulses are being transmitted continuously by the source. In order to freeze and make measurements on these time-varying signals, we need a trigger. If you've ever used an oscilloscope, the concept is very similar. Triggering can be done in different ways, including using an external trigger signal, but a level trigger is one of the most commonly used methods. We specify a trigger level with a certain power, and whether or not we want to trigger on a rising or falling edge of the signal. When the measured signal meets or exceeds this level, the trigger is activated, and we have a stable signal to make measurements on, such as pulse width or pulse interval. In this example, we'll set our trigger mode to auto and set the trigger level to be slightly below the peak pulse level. Here, our pulse test signal has a peak power of 0 dBm, so setting the trigger level to minus 10 dBm should work. We'll also trigger on the positive or rising edge of the pulse. Parameters such as hysteresis and dropout time can also be used to help avoid false triggering on unstable signals. Now that we've configured a trigger, we can configure the rest of the measurement parameters. The minimum and maximum time define the time window that will be displayed, with 0 being the trigger point. Changing these values allows us to shift our measurement results right or left. And as before, we need to define the number of steps. There's also an average count, which determines how many measurement cycles are used to form a measurement result. Increasing the averaging count reduces noise, but also increases measurement time. After starting the measurement, we see the time domain representation of our signal. Note the trigger level is graphically indicated with a dashed line. And just as in the frequency and power modes, we can change to marker view and use markers to manually measure simple pulse parameters, such as pulse width and pulse period. An easier and more precise way of measuring these parameters is using so-called pulse data notifications, in which we select the pulse parameters that are calculated automatically by our instrument. We can access pulse data notifications by selecting Pulse Data under Configure Sensors, or by selecting Pulse Data Notifications from the Context-Sensitive menu. Under Pulse Data Notifications, we can select up to 6 parameters to be automatically calculated and displayed. Once we've selected our parameters, we simply turn the state on and start the measurements. The last topic in this presentation on time mode measurements is so-called gated measurements. In gate or gated measurements, we define a certain time interval, called a gate, and only make measurements during this interval. At other times, the gate is off, and no measurements are made. Gates are defined using start and stop times relative to the trigger signal. In this example, we have a gate start time of 10 milliseconds and a gate stop time of 12 milliseconds. Gated measurements are particularly useful when measuring pulse signals or signals that are assigned to time slots. Gate mode provides up to 2 gates per trace. Each of these 2 gates have individual start and stop times, and both of these gates apply to the same trace. If you don't want to use one of these gates, you can simply set the start and stop times equal to each other. Gated measurements are shown in the Gate View window. The start and stop times of Gate 1 and Gate 2 are indicated both graphically and numerically, and for each gate, both the peak power and average power are shown at the bottom of the screen. Let's end with a brief summary. Time mode measurements show power as a function of time, and they're primarily used when measuring pulsed or time division multiplex signals. Unlike frequency and power mode measurements, the signals measured in time mode can come from any source, not just from the SMA. In order to make measurements, we need to define a trigger type in order to get stable results. Measurements in time mode are displayed graphically on the SMA itself, and pulse notifications can be used to get automatic numerical results for a large number of common pulse parameters. And lastly, we can enable gate mode so that we only make measurements during defined time intervals. This concludes our presentation using NRP Power Analysis Time Mode. If you'd like to learn more about NRP power sensors or power analysis, please see the links in the video description. Thanks for watching.